Hello again. We're back now to take arpeggios out of the linear world and put them in the all-at-once world, where you play all the notes at the same time as a chord. So we learned the structure of seventh chords by looking at the arpeggios. And then we altered the different notes to create different versions of the seventh chord. So, just to refresh, 1, 3, 5, 7 creates a major 7 chord. If I lower the seventh a half step and make it a minor seventh, 1, 3, 5, flat 7, dominant 7. 1, flat the third makes it a minor seventh chord. Keep that seventh flatted, and that's the minor seventh. And then we had the flat 5, which was the last one. 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7, and 1. So those are the 4 that we talked about. And now I would like to put them in the form of an actual chord and give you a couple of nice little ways to use those, of course, in comping and playing chords, but also in creating chord improvisations and chord solos and chord melodies, which is something I always love about jazz guitar. So let's just get the basics. The first one we're going to do, I'm going to do it right on A on the 5th fret with the root on the 6th string. Now, as I show you these positions, I'm going to show you them with the root on different strings. In this position, it's going to only be on the 6th string and the 5th string. I'll get into that more later, but I just want you to be aware of that. So the first voicing takes the notes 1, 3, 5, and 7 and spreads them out in a different way than just straight up. Now, if you were to put them just straight up one after another, you would get this voicing. Now, if you wanted to do that with the root on the 6th string, check out how it looks. It's very hard to play. Long stretch between these two fingers and another one here. So not very practical on the guitar. So what we do is we take the notes, put them in a different order, and it sounds very pretty, and you get them all, and it's much easier to play. The first voicing is you play, of course, you play the root on the bottom, the 1 is on the bottom, and then the next note you play is actually the 7th. It's up there on the D string. Now remember, you have a diagram of these voicings, so you can look at them and you can check and make sure you're doing it the way I'm doing it. All right, so that's the 7th. I'll just do just those two. And I'm using for the 7th, in this case, because of where the other fingers need to go, I'm using my 3rd finger for that. Okay? And then right underneath that, I'm going to put my pinky, and that's going to be playing the 3rd degree of the scale. Now that's the 3rd, an octave above where it occurs in the arpeggio. It's in the 2nd octave. All right? Just take a look at that. That in itself, later on, I'll teach you that you can sometimes just use that voicing without adding the 4th note. It's very useful, and we'll get to that later. But for now, let's get the whole, the whole kit and caboodle. So the last one is the 5th, and that's on the same 5th fret. That's why I use my 3rd finger, so that I can sneak my 2nd finger back there and get the 5th. Okay? So 1 with the 1st finger on the 6th string. The 7th with the 3rd finger on the D string. My pinky grabs the 3rd, and that's also on the 6th fret on the G string. And then underneath everything there is the 5th with my 2nd finger on the B string. And here it is. A major 7. Now when you're practicing this, sometimes you might want to just take it and move around the neck a little bit, see how it feels. Try it in different areas. Kind of gets a little squeezy up there, and I'll tell you what we can do about that later. So there we are again, A major 7. Now as I'm moving that around, you might notice that I'm not playing every string. I'm not playing all 6 strings. In fact, I'm only playing 4 strings at a time. And on the diagram that you see, you'll see where the dots where my fingers are, and then you'll see an X on the other two strings, which means those are not being played. So how do you not play them? In the case of what I'm doing right now, I'm actually using 4 fingers to play it on my right hand. I do that quite a bit. So I'm playing fingerstyle, but let's say I wasn't playing fingerstyle. I can do the same thing with the pick or with my thumb, and you still don't hear those other 2 strings. And I'm sure you're already aware of this. I'm doing it by muting the strings that I don't want to sound with the fingers that I'm playing with. It's kind of a double, they're double tasking, a couple of these fingers. So in the case of the A string, which is not being used, my first finger is lightly touching the A string, heavy enough so that it doesn't make any noise. Like if I lift it, if I curve my finger and leave it open, that will actually be heard. Now, that's an A, so in this case it doesn't sound so bad, but let's say I was doing a B chord. That wouldn't sound so good if that rang out. So I just lean back my finger just enough, just like that. There I'm hitting 2 strings, but you don't hear the A string, you only hear the 6th string. So I lean it back just enough to mute it. Right? So here's with the pick. You don't hear the other strings at all. The high E string, which is not in use in this particular chord, is being basically damped by, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can damp it with, I guess, the bottom part of your finger that's playing the 5th, which is your 2nd finger. I'm playing both strings. But in this case, because I'm kind of curving my hand all the way across, this part of my hand is touching the E string, the palm underneath where I'm playing my fingers. If your fingers, if that works, that's a really good way to deaden that top string. You can also, when you're picking, when you're strumming, you can just stop your hand a little bit before that note. That's another technique. And then, of course, it's not a problem at all if you use your fingers. Anyway, just a little technical aside. That will hold true for all of the voicings that we're talking about here. And the damping will be a little bit different in each one. Just use your own creativity to come up how you want to keep the other strings muted.